Okay, and we are live. Welcome to a new episode of All Things Xbox podcast. Logan's back. Logan, how you doing this week?
Doing dandy, man. So far 2026 has been good. So good start. I hope it's a great year. How about you, man? Have a good holiday.
Oh yeah, Christmas, New Year, being great. Uh, I don't know if you remember, Logan, and I'm sure a lot of people do that. Well, listen to this. I was sick last year over Christmas with bronchitis.
Yeah.
And that was terrible. Couldn't taste properly. Couldn't do anything really. This year, New Year's Eve, honestly, stayed in the house, just played games, watched movies. It was brilliant. uh, Normally, I go over a friend's house or something, but I thought, I need a quiet one. Christmas was great. Got a bunch of games and stuff. Great time, very great time. Hope everyone listening had a great time over Christmas. It's been a couple of weeks. Now, we had the last show, I think, 3 weeks ago, and then we had we didn't do a show the week before that because I think it was technical difficulties. It's been a wild month, but we're back. It's going to be a fun one. Typically, we have anywhere between 12 and I want to say 22 topics. This week, there's fewer topics. I think we have like 16 topics, all interesting. But anyway, it's been a couple of weeks. Christmas has been great. Logan, what have you been playing these past few weeks?
Yeah, I've been playing all kinds of things. Lately the thing I've been playing the most is Alien Incursion, um, which was that VR title they converted
Oh yeah,
for regular consoles and PC. Really enjoying it. Towards the end of it, you can tell it was originally a VR title from some of the, sensitivities in it and
yeah.
some of the controls and stuff. But like, so I give it some grace on some of the technical stuff that is a little janky or a little like, all right, that's a little goofy looking or a little, goofy feeling. But source wise, it's perfect. Like, you play as a character from the comics that is an associate of Amanda Ripley, so it ties directly into Alien Isolation,
Oh
which
cool.
both of us really love. So that got me hooked in right away. She's this ex space marine who like broke her back in combat, and com some squad mate of hers was able to drag her broke back off the battlefield, and then because of alien technology in that era they were able to like basically make her a metal spine and keep her together. And so she's like private security and freelance, and she goes to this remote outpost to try to find her friend who's the one who saved her, and she's with her synth companion Davis. And so the two of you go to this desolate outpost to try to find her friend and expose yet again more corruption from Wayland Utani. I know everybody's shocked that Wayland Utani is up to something nefarious, but
Shocker.
they are yet again. And guess what? You won't believe this, but there's xenomorphs there. And somehow they got loose. Don't know how, but they did. It's a problem. So it's a lot of fun. Been really enjoying that. Um, I've been playing some other stuff too, and yeah, mainly I've been binging a lot of shows. Like one of my Christmas gifts was I finally got Disney Plus Hulu bundle.
Oh nice.
So I went back and watched all of Alien Earth and a bunch of other stuff. And my gosh, I am just that deserved all the praise it got. It was so good. So good. Very dark, very funny, very good. Been watching that, Fallout, finished Pluribus. Sports have been fun. Just all in all, great holiday. How about you, man? What have you been cracking?
I've been playing all sorts. I'll talk about Arc Raiders in a bit because there's like some news I want to talk about. But other than that, I've been playing Mafia: The Old Country.
Hmm.
Man, I talk about open world slop all the time. Like it's, I'll get this out the way because some people seem a bit confused whenever I mention this. Like I love open world games, love them. but I feel like we just get too many now. If anything, we don't get enough linear style games. And Mafia, they've always been linear games set in open worlds.
Hmm.
So Mafia 2, you have this big open city. It's a linear game. There's nothing really to do outside of the main missions. Nothing at all. Mafia 1, same deal. And Mafia 3, there's just these repetitive missions you can do throughout the open world. But Mafia works better as a linear title. Well, anyway, this is set in 1904 Sicily. And it is amazing. I talk about how we need more 12 to 30-hour games. This is that. So where it does have a air quote open world, I'm doing air quotes. You can't really call it open world at the same time, but that said, you can play the game and just go around getting collectibles if you want. There was an update that came out, I want to say just before Christmas, called Free Ride, where you can actually explore the map outside of main missions, get collectibles, because if you get those collectibles, you can actually spend them on better weapons throughout the game. And it's just great. It really is. The cinematic nature of it, it has this. It feels like you're playing a Godfather game or Goodfellas. So like that's like the highest possible compliment I can pay to the game, because it's just so good. Some people have said the gunplay is a bit janky, but it's like I like the idea that you're playing this game as this young character who's never really used a gun before, and his aiming isn't perfect. That's the way I take from it. But it's just great. It's really good. The driving, great. There's horseback riding. The story is phenomenal. There's tons of like mini games where you hack safes and stuff. But as someone that's been wanting more linear games that are shorter, man, I'm loving it. And I think the thing is, people have these massive backlogs now that go back too many titles. And I think the reason people's backlogs are getting worse is not because there's like so many games coming out, which there is, or which there are. I think it's because just there's so many open world games now. If you go back to the 7th generation, shocker, me making a reference to the 7th generation, we did get open world games, but they felt special. They didn't feel common. You'd have a Grand Theft Auto 4, you'd have a Red Dead Redemption, or a Fallout, right? We didn't have open world games releasing every other month. Whereas now it's fairly common practice to have open world games out in the wild. So I'm playing this game and I'm like, it's giving me just like instant gratification through playing it. There's no grinding. There's no there are collectibles in the game, but it's not like a Ubisoft style game where, well, we all know what a Ubisoft style game is now, but it's not like that, and I'm really enjoying it. Another game I've been playing is Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. That is the strangest name for a game, but it works so well. For a video game that's a Yakuza title that has Assassin's Creed 4 mechanics, you'd think it wouldn't work. You think, like, how do you mash these two kinds of games? A Yakuza game and an Assassin's Creed 4 game. And it works, surprisingly. And it's something I never knew I needed. It literally, when you enter ship combat, it's Assassin's Creed 4. And I loved Assassin's Creed 4. Assassin's Creed 4 was fantastic. And you have that style of combat in this game. And it's great. And the great thing about this game is you play as the main character, Gojima, who actually has amnesia. So, like, if you've never played a Yakuza title before, you can just jump into this game and have a laugh. It is apparently a shorter game, ranging between 15 and 30 hours. There's tons of side content, mini games. Yakuza titles normally have mini games anyway, but this game seems to have a lot. But man, it's just so good. It really is good. And yeah, I'm going to talk about Yakuza over the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be going through a couple, hopefully. But man, it's just such a fun game. And again, it's another one of those titles it's shorter, but that's good, Like, Logan, you must be getting sick of every game being 60 to 100 hours, right?
Yeah, it does wear on the mind and ability and focus. Like, I'm not a TikTok brain. Like I gotta have like instant gratification and have to be like 30 minutes or less sessions type stuff. Like I'm good with RPGs. I love them. I love hardcore, immersive experiences. Some of my favorite games ever are. But it does when every game or every big pillar franchise that's coming out starts all copying the same formula, whether it's open world or when we had all the third person shooters and then they died off and we rarely get any anymore. Or, like looter shooters were huge for a bit. Like all that stuff. Like it feels like the industry has way too much copy and paste, and if it works for them, it must work for us. Instead of, well, that's good for them, and I'm glad people like that, but let's try to differentiate ourselves and make something else for people. It's just like everybody's like, they're doing that, so it's Sad Dad in Apocalypse, Sad Dad in Space, Sad Dad in the West, Sad Dad on the Ocean, or shooter in space, looter shooter zombie apocalypse. It's just at some point it's just like enough's enough. Let's get something else going here.
Yeah. For people that have followed me on Twitter for a long time, you'll know that I used to post about, like, not just the games I'm playing, but like every game I was playing that day. Like, I used to play somewhere between 4 to 6 games a day, right? Now, you might be wondering, how do you make progress in games that way? You can't, right? That's why
Snail pace.
like, I think it was Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed Odyssey. It took me 4 months to finish that. Like, 4 months. you know,
To
uh,
be fair, that is a huge game, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's a huge game. You have basically a continent as opposed to like an island, but like 4 months is just like it's ridiculous. Like that made my backlog so bad. So like I got it down to 2 games a day, and that's what I've been doing for the past, I want to say, year plus. And let me tell you, you can get through games faster that way. I'll play 1 hour of one game, maybe 2 or 3 hours of something else. Um, I try to get 4 hours in a day, but it's typically two. It depends on what day it is. Um, but like these open worlds, man, they do not help. you know, um, like I got Assassin's Creed Shadows for Christmas. I know for a fact that game is massive, and I'm dreading opening it because I know for a fact it's going to take me months to finish. I'm looking forward to playing it though because I love stealth, but man, it's going to take me a while. Um, you know, actually, I go over the games I got for Christmas because I got a pretty few decent ones. I got a Metal Gear Solid remake, Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I have actually played a bit of that. Long story, but yeah, physical copy. I got the Xbox Series version of Terminator Resistance. I actually have the original version, which came out in 2020, I think. Um, I think I was actually the first YouTube channel to review that game because it came out in the UK 2 months before the US for some reason. We don't really see regional releases like that anymore, but hey, it is what it is. Um, I got Borderlands 4. I'm looking forward to that. What else? Pretty sure there's something else I'm forgetting, but man, so much to play over Christmas. We didn't get to talk about this last time, but we might as well talk about it now because it is a big deal. So while the last show was going on, I had gameplay in the background as I normally do, and I had Final Fantasy VII Remake demo footage. We didn't talk about it last time for some reason. I went over the last show we had before Christmas. Turns out we didn't even mention it. So you can play the Final Fantasy VII Integrate Remake demo on Xbox now. Progress carries over to the full game, which releases in a couple of weeks. And my God, let me tell you, I played this game with a massive smile on my face because I've not played this ever, and I've been wanting to come to Xbox for years. Hell, I have a video that came out in, I think, November 2019, and it was Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to Xbox because I found a store listing back in 2019. Well, let's just say it took a while to release, but we are almost there. And let me tell you, the game plays fantastic. I think people that have never played a Final Fantasy game before are gonna love this. You know, it's action-based combat. You switch between the characters, and they all play differently. Um, the graphics are beautiful, absolutely stunning. I did play it on performance mode because there wasn't really much difference. Like myself and Logan have talked about this before. How like if a game looks significantly better in quality mode, we'll play it in quality mode. But I wouldn't say there's that much difference. But the game plays amazing. The performance is great. Logan, did you get a chance to play the demo at all?
I have not. Like I said, we had a lot of family stuff over the holidays, and I've been, playing several different things and watching a lot of stuff mainly. But I did download it. I plan to get to it before the game comes out, so I can carry my progress over,
Yeah.
get that special item or gear you get for beating it, or Final Fantasy VII, and hopefully maybe get into Final Fantasy Crisis Core as well, because I've been meaning to play that as well.
Yeah, I want to mention that as well. So, like, Crisis Core Reunion, it came out on Xbox in 2022 or 2023, I think. Um, and, I played it. I thought it was phenomenal. And I've talked about this before. When the end credits rolled for me at like 3 in the morning um, on Friday night, or well, technically Saturday morning, uh, the end credit sequence has a has the opening sequence from the 7 remake. So, even though I played this game that I loved, and I was like, "This is an amazing game," I was so salty because, like, it's like, what have you done that for? Because I think at the end of the credits it said, Cloud's journey continues in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I was so angry. Like, not even angry. I was just annoyed. Um, I had to laugh at the time, but Crisis Core Reunion's a fantastic game. It takes somewhere between 15 to 25 hours to play that game. I did it in 18, and I played it on normal. But like most people could probably blast through that game in about 17, 16 hours if they don't do much of the side quests. You can ignore most of the side quests. But that's going to set people up perfectly for this remake trilogy, because we could be seeing part 3 with a release date trailer soon, or like a teaser trailer, should I say? Because Square Enix has kind of hinted at it, and that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of people's first Final Fantasy game. It was kind of like the most wanted game on Xbox for years, basically, because people thought this could never come over, it would never come over, and here we are. It comes out in 3 weeks. So yeah, don't you love to see that? But yeah, if you play the demo from start to finish, it takes about an hour, and it's basically the opening section of the original Final Fantasy VII. You go to the Mako reactor and do your stuff, and yeah, fun game. Again, gorgeous graphics. I think Square Enix, like, I've had a love-hate relationship over the years. Clearly, I get along with them now because I get the games I want. Final Fantasy VII next, and it's going to be great. And if people want to get that on Xbox, I don't know if it's the same situation for the Switch. If you pre-order it, you get the original version as well. And I still think the original version is something people should play. Yes, it's an old game. It's a very old game. But you know what? I don't care. The original is still a great game. And even though Cloud basically has triangles for hands, it's still special.
It's a historical treasure
Yeah,
at the very least.
it's a
It is
special
a
game.
very, very great game.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever like the KOTOR remake inevitably comes out, right? I'm still gonna recommend people to play the original. I know it might seem a bit backwards to some people, but like, there's something so special about these games. Like, remakes will always play better, look better, and all that stuff. But like, I'm still one of these people that I want the original version of Resident Evil 2 to come to Xbox, because I adore Resident Evil 2 from the N64. Special game. But yeah, been playing a bunch of games like that. I've been playing Warzone, which I'm going to rant about Warzone for a bit before we talk about all the news topics. So I've talked about this before. I haven't been into competitive multiplayer for over a decade. You know, I switched to Battlefield in 2011, and then I played Halo 4, and then Titanfall, and Battlefield 4 was broken at launch, so like I didn't really play that for long. So like as soon as Titanfall kind of like withered off a bit, I didn't really touch multiplayer. I'd play some betas, but I wasn't really enjoying it. So I took this super long break from Call of Duty multiplayer, or multiplayer in general. And about last January or something like that, I start playing Warzone with one of my friends. And I start having a blast. It's a different pace from regular multiplayer. And I'm like, this is incredible. Warzone Resurgence it was. And then when they changed the map in regular Warzone, I think back in August, fell in love with that game mode. That map makes that game. Anyway, Black Ops 7 came out in November, and all of the weapons in the game switched to Black Ops 7 weapons. I haven't really talked about this online because some people get really angry when you talk about Call of Duty on Twitter. Black Ops 7 weapons I do not like. They play fine in the campaign. I think there's one called the Dresden or something, or Dresden 16. I like that gun in the campaign, but in Warzone, I don't like any of the weapons. So that's taking some getting used to. But let's talk about Arc Raiders quickly, because Arc Raiders had a huge success back in October. I think it was October or November it launched, and it has millions of players. I think yesterday there was over 3.3 million people playing concurrently across all platforms, right? It's a lot of people's first Extraction game, and this is where I put my single-player hat on, because I don't really do multiplayer. This game I'm playing as a solo player. I'm interacting with other solo players, and it's so much fun. Other people are discovering the Extraction genre for the first time, and it's just fun to interact with randoms, And anyway, over the Christmas break, they had these events going on. Millions of more people have been joining the game, but it's crazy because every time I post about this game on Twitter, I get asked the same question by certain individuals. Like, I enjoy single-player games. Will I like this? Because the gameplay, the look of it, the graphics, the way the characters move, like everything about this game appeals to a mass audience. And I've noticed none of the big streamers or big, like, huge content creators are actually talking about this. You have casual multiplayer people like myself, like many others, playing this game as a single-player game, even though you're in this world that's populated with, I think it's 30 people per server, and, there's these robots roaming around trying to get you, right? It's just so much fun. And I think that is going to be the biggest hook for the long time, because, or say the longest time, because we haven't had an extraction shooter on console like this. Most console gamers have never really played or paid attention to the extraction genre, and then you have this little game pop off by former Battlefield devs that looks amazing, plays amazing, and it's an Unreal Engine 5 game that happens to run at 4K 60 and looks amazing. So you have a game release, it performs great, it looks great, it releases at £34, I think it was. I think it's like $40, and you have this crazy good experience that people are going to get thousands of hours out of. It has the craziest monetization when it comes with skins I've ever seen, because we talk about this all the time. Having premium skins in premium games has always annoyed me. I've paid X amount of pounds for this game. I should not be spending, or have to spend, let's say, £5 to £30 on a skin. That should already be in the game. However, in this game, there's a bunch of skins you can outright buy, but you earn premium in-game currency just by playing it. And it's not like you have to grind and play this game a lot to get this currency. It's like, no, you just play regularly like me. And like, I bought a premium skin the other day. That looks super cool now, right? And I already have enough currency to buy another one. And I've never seen this with a game. They have this live service game that's pro-consumer. I am flabbergasted. And do you know how flabbergasted I have to be to use the word flabbergasted? very. And it's just great. Like, Logan, we've talked about this a million times. You have no interest whatsoever in multiplayer. I get that, but does the single player people being interested in this game make you think about it at all?
Makes me think about it that, it's being talked about and it's out in the ether and I'm seeing it everywhere, but I really just have zero inclination to jump in. Um it's just not my kind of thing, but I'm glad it's doing well. Frankly, it's a godsend for the industry because they needed somebody to actually compete with Fortnite and
Yeah,
not get their lunch money taken on everything and taken to the cleaners out back. It which Fortnite has been doing to everyone. So I know Marvel Rivals was hot for a while and did pretty well, but it has kind of it's become a just a skin machine,
yeah,
kind of essentially. Um, which I mean, frankly, is the name of the game in all these. So don't hate the player, hate the game. So I'm glad it's doing well. I'm glad you and others like it's not one I'm gonna be playing, but I I'm open to multiplayer things. But like the multiplayer I like is like old school like deathmatch in Halo or like when you could play with bots and like time splitters type arena stuff or like horde modes or
yeah,
like infection or like you and a squad gets together for Left 4 Dead and you've got to get through these missions and campaign together like stuff like that. So like I like multiplayer and I'm for it like when it's done well, but multiplayer only type experiences are generally just not my thing.
yeah. Yeah, with there being millions of people playing this game, and I think it might actually happen now. I think at some point this year it's going to get a PvE only mode. There's millions of people playing this game, and like, oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw this look. It has aggression based matchmaking. So if you like to go around and just get other players, it will put you into games where most of the other players are the same. But if you're like me and you just play friendly, you get put into matches with other friendly players.
Okay, that makes it more appealing because, like, I hate the idea of like you get thrown into a match with a bunch of like neurotic, like psycho aggressive folks, and you're like, man, I'm just trying to survive here.
Yeah, and but I do think this year they will actually put out a PVE only mode because it just plays so good. Just when you're fighting these giant robots, like I have footage going on during the show where you fight this queen called the matriarch, and it's like firing missiles at you. You're reviving other players, sharing loot, sharing ammo and stuff. Like I was playing last night, and someone gave me heavy ammo which I needed because I'd ran out at that point, and just that aspect of it makes me think that yeah, it is an extraction game through and through, but it's so much fun to just work with other random people. Now that said, the memes have been accurate. So if you play solos like me, most of the time, it's friendly. People have been nice, sharing stuff. Hell, someone gave me like two really rare items just before Christmas, and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you!" I haven't even found these yet. But if you play it in duos or quads or trios or whatever, it's an absolute bloodbath. like, uh, I'm guessing there's so many people attacking each other that maybe the aggression-based matchmaking doesn't work. Because again, when I play with my friend, we literally just go around looting robots, looting houses and stuff. Looting whatever buildings and facilities they have in our creators' maps. But like the second we go into a map, people start firing straight away. So like duos and trios and that, it's not for the faint of heart. But anyway, that's our creators. We should be getting a roadmap fairly soon. But man, I just love, and you mentioned this, Logan, like Fortnite for the longest time pushed the industry to where it is today, where you have a battle pass and you fund the game with skins, right? And these skins cost somewhere upwards of $30, right? Which is crazy. And in this game, if you want, you can do the free battle pass. It's called a Raider deck, and you can buy skins. Like, someone needed to do it right, and they did it. This game was originally going to be free to play. They went back on that, thankfully. I'm happy to recommend this game, even though it costs money, because I think free to play. If this was free to play, it would have been more egregious with the monetization, which we don't want. Because again, in Fortnite and Call of Duty, you have $30 skins, which mind-boggling. You could buy a game for that. By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. When a certain Battlefield game was out, and I was talking to one of the developers that were working on the game. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this story. Someone popped up in my replies and asked this person, "Hey, will we get more guns in the game?" Right? I think that's a fairly standard question to ask a developer when it comes to multiplayer, right? Would you say so, Logan?
Yeah. People always want more weapons or gear or abilities in multiplayer or even, campaigns for expansions and stuff. So that's a very innocent question.
Yeah, which is what I thought. And this is when I knew, like, multiplayer and just AAA gaming's kind of cooked. When this developer replied, and how exactly are we meant to pay for this? You want it for free? All this person asked was, are we going to get more guns, right? And that's when I realized, I was like, wow, this is going to get really bad. And as we're saying since, uh, monetization in a lot of games is terrible, but our creators, they did it right. And I know it seems like I'm glazing the game a lot over the past couple of weeks or past few episodes, but it's just nice to have a game that respects your time and respects your wallet, you know? Because don't get me wrong, when the Ana de Armas skin popped up in Warzone, I was going to get that. And my friend said, "Do you know it's £30?" I was like, you know what? Maybe not. Skins are not worth that much money. They're just not. But that's our creators. Now, that's what we've been playing. We still have a bunch of topics. My God. You know what? Let's get into them right now. So, unfortunately, Vince Zampella passed away a couple of weeks ago. He basically made Call of Duty what it was, Medal of Honor what it was, Titanfall. He founded Respawn Entertainment. And, he's one of the figureheads of the first-person shooter genre. I think that, him gone now, and may he rest in peace, and hopefully his family's okay and stuff, but him being gone, first-person shooters have taken a step back, in my opinion. He pushed that genre forward in so many ways, and again, like, Call of Duty is a dominant IP. It's the dominant first-person shooter, and he's the reason for that, Titanfall was amazing. It was ambitious at the time, and that game was a new IP. It had 11 million players, right? Sorry, 11 million copies sold of Titanfall 1, and people loved that game. Titanfall 2 had its messy release, but like that was a phenomenal game also, and it had an amazing campaign, which I actually put up there with Half-Life 2. It's unfortunate this happened, but yeah. Logan, what do you think? Because like it is a sad situation. I didn't want to dwell on it much, but the first person shooter space changed because of him.
Yeah, rest in peace first and foremost. He was a brilliant dev and creator of first person shooters and like action grandiose spectacles like he was also, I believe, involved in the original, the Medal of Honor, Allied Assault,
Yeah,
and Pacific Conquest and stuff to where like I remember playing those. And like the first thing I'm thinking is like, dude, it literally feels like I'm in Saving Private Ryan. Like I am storming the beach of Normandy. I'm trying to get to one of those X or cross shaped things. Like my squad mates are getting blasted into bits. It is just brutal. And then like the spectacle of that, all the, vehicular combat, the Thompson, the M4, like all the 1911, like everything used in it just felt perfect and like pristine and like the action, the spectacle. It felt like it finally had more of a story. I know Call of Duty today is very different than Call of Duty and its precursor, Medal of Honor
Yeah.
back then, but still like that they got where they are today from its origins and the spectacle, and it truly made these FPS games that weren't in just sci-fi or horror into like grand experiences for people, to like a Hollywood blockbuster. And it became like the yearly ritual because it was such a colossal deal, and he played a massive part in that. And so his loss is a big absence for the industry going forward. And I'm curious to see how Respawn, Dice, um, the other Call of Duty community, others respond and carry forward. His loss was really big, and I know a former Xbox developer and engineer recently passed away. I believe Albert Pinello,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, and his loss is a big loss as well. It's been a rough start, rough close and start to the year in those regards, and just always remember what people do, and make sure you give them their flowers while they're alive too. Like, not just after, because people deserve to know they're appreciated and that they have had a good impact. And I I hope the FPS industry and focus continues to be strong going forward.
Yeah, this is a sad state of affairs, like, but I hopefully, the studios learned a lot from these people. Xbox, like you said, Albert Pinello, like Xbox as a platform is basically, he worked towards that. So may these two guys rest in peace. I mean, there's not much I can say on it, but the industry is worse off. I'll say that. You know what? Let's get into some positive topics. We have actually a bunch, and this thing went live after our last episode, and that is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora third person mode. Now, I don't like to say I told you so, but I'm going to say I told you so, because that game launched and it was incredible, and nobody played it because nobody knew it existed. Ubisoft did not market that thing whatsoever. Like, yeah, Avatar, one of the most well-known IPs. There's only 3 movies. There's one video game that came out in 2009. There's another one that came out in 2022 or 23. And that's it. That's literally it. And it's almost a $4 billion franchise. Well, more than $4 billion at this point, because the first 2 movies made $4 billion. But like, it's a well-known IP, and the game just didn't do well. When you don't hear any sales numbers off a AAA game like that, and it's obviously a very expensive game to make, because there's no open world like that. Like, the way the forest is, the vertical forest, there's nothing like that at all in gaming. And nobody played it. And, Ubisoft, people have to give them credit, right? The studio that works on their games, they support them. So they put out patches. They patched basically every bug in the game. They gave it features. They put in fan-requested features. But there was always one fan-requested feature up top. And this is while the expansions were in development. Third-person mode. Right? Because the game is already in third person when you ride a mount. And you do ride a mount in I want to say 40% of the game. Well, the thing is, it's first person, the rest of it, and you do tend to go stealth when you enter in bases. Now, first person stealth works perfectly fine. So what's the problem with Avatar and first person stealth? You play as a 9-foot tall alien, right? So when you are crouched, you're the same height as humans, right? I've been making this point for years. So like, if a game is first person or third person, it doesn't bother me. Like, whatever the developer wanted to make, does it play good? Cool. The reason why I've been saying Avatar needed to be third person is because what I've just said. The perspective difference between humans and the Na'vi are completely different. So they eventually announced third person mode. It came out, and I have the game installing. Actually, it's paused at the minute because I won't be able to do the podcast. But like people are now talking about the game positively. Not that the game's changed much, right? It's the same game. It just has a third-person camera, and people are praising this game like it's like people are like giving this Red Dead Redemption hype at the minute in my feed. You know, they're not saying it's as good as Red Dead Redemption, but they're saying that this game is phenomenal. Yeah, Intergalactic Ferngully. But hey, that's what the game is, and it works. And you know what? If people don't like certain camera perspectives, whatever. Okay, fair enough. But if you've been wanting a third-person game that's different, and you like the look of this, and maybe even if you're an Avatar fan, you need this. You need this game. If you're not an Avatar fan, watch some third-person footage because the camera perspective changes everything when you're playing as a 9-foot-tall blue alien. You know, you get to see what your character looks like, which is a big thing for that game. You know, going around sneaking, it really helps. Logan, I'm guessing you haven't played the game yet because I know you bought it on sale, anticipating the third-person mode.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I watched through the first two films again to
Nice.
prepare for the third one. I haven't seen it yet. I'm about to go see it soon. And I planned on seeing the movie and then hopping into the game. So it's in my sights. I just haven't played it yet.
Yeah. You know, I love the movies, clearly. The reason I haven't seen it yet is my local cinema, not even kidding, every showing fully booked. Every single showing.
Hot ticket.
Yeah. And this is what it's been out for about 3 or 4 weeks now, 3 weeks. And like I'm gonna try and see it next week, but my god, like that film is dominating at the minute. But yeah, the video game, and thankfully, you know, it is having a second breath of life. You know, this game is having some success now because again, nobody paid attention to it. You know, that could we blame the camera angle? Yes, but I'm just gonna blame Ubisoft for not marketing the game because I know there's people in chat. I know Shizno's mentioned it. Like, it's a damn good game. Yeah, you could say it's Far Cry-ish, but it works. You know, you have this huge vertical open world. You have the plains that you have off to the east. Like, it's just beautiful. And when the generation comes to an end, and when people are talking about what are the best looking games on console, that game's going to be in the conversation of top 10. I'm guessing top 10, easy. Which may be a hint at an upcoming video. Anyway, but yeah, Avatar, it's having some success, and you know, hopefully we get a sequel now that Ubisoft knows how to launch this game. Maybe, you know, put two dudes on like the marketing cycle for the game. But yeah, and you know, I think I put like 40 to 60 hours in that game over the months I played it, and I still haven't finished it yet. I have basically 40% of the story to go and all 3 expansions. So, like, I have a lot of Avatar to go through, but man, the game's great. Movie's great. I love that universe. You know, for some reason, that universe gets a lot of hate, and I just don't understand it, right? Yes, is it Dances with Wolves, but in space? Yes. Is it The Postman in space? Yes. But does that make it bad? No. I'm going to defend Avatar. I'm one of those dudes, right? When the credits roll with that first game, and Leona Lewis starts singing, my god, that movie's magical. This is an Xbox podcast, not an Avatar podcast. But I'm just happy to see this game have some success because, like, we see so many games get abandoned over the years because they weren't marketed correctly. Maybe they didn't pop off. Because that's the thing these days. If a game does not have immediate meme success or just like viral success, and it doesn't have like, you know, a AAA publisher behind it, or it's an indie game made by one person, like this game, many games fail, and you know the hype cycle plays into it. This game had no hype cycle at all. Ubisoft never talked about it, and now it's finally having the talk it deserves. So, and the thing is, it's not like a redemption story where we've seen with other games where they've launched broken and then been fixed later. The game launched fine. It's just a camera perspective gave the game more attention. But hey, I hope more people play it, and if its success is really good, we'll see a sequel. Although I will say this,
Speaking of,
yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, speaking of Ubisoft second chances, that announcement for Star Wars Outlaws could be just the second chance it needs to get a huge resurgence in player count and interest, and maybe get that sequel greenlit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hope. Like, I think Star Wars Outlaws. Like, you did play that, right?
I have not yet, but it's in the list. My
Like,
backlog is quite massive.
yeah, I get you. Like Star Wars Outlaws is good, right? I played it after the fixes. There's been more updates since that have added features and more fixes to the game. But like when I played the game, which was December last year, or December 2024, the game was working perfectly fine. It's just that for an open world smuggler game like that, you'd think that maybe you'd be able to like hijack other like hover bikes or something, or pick up weapons on the ground that weren't yours. Like small things like that. Like if it has a huge boost because of Game Pass, and I think it launched on the Switch in December as well, or it's coming to the Switch soon, Switch 2. It might get a sequel because the sequel did start development or pre-production, and then it was canned. I want to say in August last year. So hopefully we see a sequel. But yeah, some of these games they deserve second chances, and yeah. Anyway, that's Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora third person mode. Again, if you haven't played it, go play it. I think it's 50% off on Xbox Live right now. So if you haven't played it, go get it. It's worth every penny. Let's see what we got next, because again, we have like 10 topics. Oh, Logan, you want to talk about this? More licensed games. What's that about?
Yeah, it's just a kind of a trend that's been happening, like, with Avatar, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Alien. Like, since Disney acquired Fox several years ago, like there's been a groundswell in support for some of those other IPs
Yeah.
to get more chances and get, sequels or new iterations. And frankly, the games have been better than some of the films that have come out recently in some of those.
Oh, yeah.
So it has definitely helped, and they're seeing the success. And so Disney has gone all in on the gaming. Like Alien alone, that franchise was on ice for a while, effectively, before Disney got them. And then they acquired them. They went back to the lab and they're like, all right, what do we got here from Fox? And so they started doing content for Alien and Predator again. They've both been getting movies, animes, games, shows. And like we had a lot of Alien games in just a few years span, like
Yeah.
several in the last year or two that have been really good for the most part. And, we're finally getting Alien Isolation 2,
Finally.
and the developers said that it was one that they had wanted to do since they made the original. It's just that Fox wasn't on board at that time. And then once they were acquired, it kind of like where, you know, the idea of a StarCraft or some of these other IPs that were in Activision's backlog that were kind of just sitting on the shelf. When Microsoft acquired them, a lot of people are like, hey, maybe new ownership means new chance for life. And I think there's very good chances that works out for several of those things in the Xbox Activision. But like in general, like for licensed stuff, it just seems like we've had a resurgence. Like, you know, a drinking game for the podcast. We're mentioning Seventh Gen again,
Yeah.
but um, like, just we used to get so many licensed games every year or two. Like Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2. Those weren't technically sixth, but you get the idea. Force Unleashed 2, the Lego Star Wars games. We had all the Arkham Batman games. We had, Lord of the Rings games. Like all these great licensed games. Transformers, all these Marvel awesome games. And then now we're lucky if we get a sequel in the same bloody generation
Yeah.
as the cursor. Like, it's insane to me that, Gears of War, it has such a gap between games. I know it's kind of a stylistic reboot and gonna be a prequel, but still, it's a long time since Gear 5 came out. And, some of these other games. So I just I hope this is a positive sign going forward for even more of these because I love them. I eat them up. Like, I know there are some people that are hashtag like new IPs, new IPs. Like, they only want new, 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 new. But hey, I like new stuff too. But this original stuff was new at one point, and it's how we got these franchises. And I love to see them continue. And I'm excited about that, and I hope Microsoft, if you're listening, some of these other people, if you're listening, I know Hasbro has put it out into the ether that
Yeah.
they want the Transformers games back. Um, Disney is obviously wheeling and dealing for Star Wars stuff and and Alien and other things. So, maybe give them a ring and try to get something worked out for these Transformer games and these other licensed games that we love because I know there's paperwork, I know there's licensing, I know there are complexities, but surely in the year 2026, which still feels weird to say, we can figure something out for some of these mega hit games that are arbitrarily lost for quote reasons.
Yeah. I mean, I'll quickly go over a bunch of licensed games that are coming out this year or beyond that I know of. So you have um, Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival, first-person horror
Oh
game,
yeah, awesome.
made by Saber Interactive. By the way, the developers have said that they want to push the boundaries of what you can do in a video game when it comes to gore.
Yeah, I could totally see that. That game is going to make you squirm.
Oh yeah,
Just well, fair warning.
yeah. So that's going to be good. What else we have? We have Hogwarts Legacy 2. That's in development. I mean, by the way, that first game has sold 40 million copies.
Good grief.
Yeah,
So much for that protest, am I
yeah.
right?
And also the Netflix thing. I don't know if you saw, Logan. Netflix apparently didn't see the value in Hogwarts Legacy because the game studios were brought up after the initial purchase of Warner Brothers, and they were asked about Hogwarts Legacy, and they said they don't think it provides any monetary value.
Good grief.
Yeah, and then
That's
like a day
bad.
later,
Bad.
the studio just posted, how many sales they had. So like ballsy move, but I respect it. I really respect it. But yeah, the sequel's coming out. That's going to be amazing. Um, all you have to do is just fix all the minor things in the first game. And I love the first game. You need to have more classes and more stuff set in the castle itself. That's literally it. And Quidditch. So 3 things. We have Terminator Survivors, which was originally going to be a co-op survival game, third-person survival game set in post-apocalyptic Earth, but they've changed it so it's going to be a single-player game now. They did say we're going to be hearing about that game fairly soon, so I'd be shocked. There's a game showcase in 2 days. It's called New Game Plus. I'd be shocked if that's not there. And the game's
Speaking
basically,
of,
yeah.
have you played the new Terminator, like the two Terminator 2 side scroller like Contra game? I haven't played it yet, but it looks awesome.
2D No Fair. Not yet, but I'm wanting to soon because I've heard really good things about it. And it's basically Terminator Contra, you know? And I mean, if you like Terminator 2 and you like Contra, I'm just going to take a guess that that's going to be a must-play game. Hopefully, I'm going to try and get to it before the next podcast, but yeah, the game looks good. But yeah, the Terminator game, Terminator Survivors, that might be announced or shown off soon. What else do we have? Oh yeah, so apparently there's 2 Alien games in development. One is apparently a Dead Space third-person shooter style game,
Hallelujah.
and the other one is apparently how should I put it? A Resident Evil 2 style Alien game.
That also sounds amazing.
Yeah. So like, before we get into that, we have the first super chat of the day by Nick W. Thank you very much for the $4.99. He says Terminator 2D No Fate is awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I think Terminator 2 is one of the best films of all time. Am I saying that because I'm a James Cameron fan? Maybe. By the way, put this out there: James Cameron has never made a bad movie. I don't know if that's like debatable or anything, but I think he's never made a bad movie. Yes, I was going to say Terminator, but Titanic, it's a bit sappy, but from a filmmaking perspective, it's fantastic. It is like
I mean, if
5
you
hours
like
long.
Leona Lewis song, you gotta like My Heart Will Go On too.
Yeah, that that song's a bit sappy for me. I'm not gonna lie. Leona Lewis all day. That song, Celine Dion, maybe not, but yeah, Terminator 2D No Fate. And the cool thing I read about Terminator 2D No Fate is that once you finish the game, you apparently can go through the sequence of events of Terminator 2, but change the outcome. So you could basically, see what would happen if Sarah Connor had died in the the mental facility, that type of thing. Really cool extra content, which I think more games should start doing. But yeah, Terminator 2D No Fate looks great. Thanks for the $4.99, Nick, and Happy New Year, by the way. This is going to be a good show. What else do we have coming? So I mentioned the 2 Alien games. You mentioned Alien Isolation 2. Can you believe Alien Isolation 1 came out 11 years ago?
It's hard to believe, man.
Like, that is crazy. And I
I
adore that
remember
game.
picking that up day one, Nostromo edition.
Oh yeah, if they don't come out with a special edition where it's some sort of replica of a spaceship or a space station or something, for shame. Although I'd be shocked if they don't. That game is gonna sell like hotcakes, and hopefully IGN won't give it a 6 out of 10 again. That still annoys me. like,
It still pisses me off too.
like
That one and the Pokemon Ruby one are still like infamous.
yeah, Pokemon Ruby, too much water. What I just don't get it. I know people make fun of IGN, but it's obvious to see why. It's like, okay, we have a super chat by Mac22TH54. Thank you very much for the $4.99. It says almost 80 watching. Hit the like button. Thank you very much for the $1.99. It's greatly appreciated, and all gets funded back into the channel. And by the way, so for people that don't know, I didn't really mention this on the channel yet. I have a capture card now, so there's going to be more long form content on the channel as well as the content I normally make. There's videos coming out soon, but I'll mention that stuff at the end of the show. I have so many cool things planned for this year, stuff I can't talk about yet, that I'm actually smiling thinking about it. It's like such cool content that is just different. So you're going to have the podcast, you're going to have the top lists, the Xbox topics, that type of thing. But also, considering I have a capture card now, Let's Plays. I've been wanting to do my Mass Effect complete trilogy re-Let's Play, I shall say, for a long time. And now I can finally do that. So at some point in the next, I want to say a month and a half, I want to start doing the whole trilogy right from the beginning. And I've worked out I can maybe get it down to 75 streams. All I'm trying to work out, because I've played through all those games so many times, I know how many hours it takes to do each game, depending on what you do and all that stuff. Long story short, there's going to be Let's Plays as well as the content. But thank you for the $1.99, Mac. Let's see what else, other content. I did hear that there's another Harry Potter game in development. That's a third-person adventure game. I don't know anything else
I thought
about.
you were going to say third-person shooter for a second. I'm like, well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd take a third-person shooter Harry Potter game. Like, I don't know how that would work, but I'd try it. And oh yeah, there's a third-person Lord of the Rings game in development that is apparently Hogwarts Legacy, but for Lord of the Rings. So I'm guessing at this point that might be a Summer Games Show, Summer Games Fest type thing, because that's going to be a huge game. But yeah, having these licensed titles come back, it's great. Like you said, during the 6th generation, we had a new Star Wars game come out every other month. Like, you'd have Star Wars Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter 2, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. You'd have Star Wars Episode 3, which is a really good game, by the way. You'd have there was another Star Wars pod racing game at that point. There was just so many good Star Wars games, and like I'm one of the 4 people that actually like Star Wars Obi-Wan. you know,
Hey, I did too. I wanted it BC. Yeah, I mean, it didn't make the cut for reasons, but I enjoyed it.
yeah. I see Nick mentioned. Remember the PS2 era Lord of the Rings games? Those games, amazing. Like,
Oh, the trilogy was so
yeah,
good.
like the difficulty was pretty high. They
Yeah, oh
weren't
yeah, very.
they weren't easy, but like the fact that you had actual cutscenes or actual parts of like let's say the two towers in the movie, like in the game, it was just crazy at the time. And that game, if I remember correctly, came out before the movie. So like yeah, it was such a good game. Return of the King. Oh my god! And at the time, those games are graphically impressive. You'd have like huge armies off in the distance while they're trying to climb the walls and stuff of Isengard. Like, my god. Um, I do hope we get ports of them at some point because I think Embracer owns the all old games now. I think I'd have to go and check, but they own something to do with old Lord of the Rings games. Um,
Even an Aspire port would be nice.
yeah,
I would be happy.
yeah, I'd take Aspire ports, perfectly fine. Widescreen, why not? Um, trying to think. Yeah, there's just more licensed games coming, and I think we did have a drought last generation where it didn't seem licensed games were that often. But hey, I'll take them, and finally we're getting more. Anyway, let's move on. We still have like 10 topics. Logan, you want to talk about the Xbox Ally because you have one and you really like it.
Yeah, it's an awesome device. I've really been making use of it with GOG and Steam.
Yeah.
And being able to play some of the games that I wanted to be backwards compatible that for various reasons were not, I've been able to acquire them via that and play them on an Xbox device. And with a dock I can connect it to my TV and play it on my 4K screen if I want to, or play it on the go. And that has been a treat, being able to play some other games that for various reasons just have not made it to the Xbox brand, which is odd, but it is what it is. And it's really user friendly. I enjoy it. I love it. It's a fantastic device for both cloud and latent, normal, like native experience. I'm excited for future updates when the AI upscaling comes in and some of the other stuff that's due this year. And if you have interest in them at all, I would recommend you get one sooner than later because
Oh yeah.
lo and behold, there has been some shortages and some parts problems that are potentially going to cause Asus to skyrocket the price. So, just fair warning, if you have interest at all and money is not a problem for you at this moment, then, I would recommend getting one as soon as possible. But I'm loving it and I'm really excited to see what Xbox does with it going forward.
Yeah, I mean the PC handheld devices like there's an LG Go something. I can't remember the names of these, but there's a bunch of companies make these like PC style console handhelds, and like they've been popping off. They've been popping off. People really like these things, and it just goes to show that you can be a company that isn't Nintendo and make portable hardware. you know, um, I just saw in chat 007 comes out this year as well. In my opinion, I think that's going to be one of the biggest games of the year.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be huge.
I might be biased because I'm a Bond fan, but it's like the cinematic third person action adventure with huge set pieces. Like the set pieces in that game look nuts, and it's IO interactive. I have all the faith in the world. And by the way, before it was announced that they were going to make the next Bond game, I thought they should make. I think a lot of people thought the same thing. Like if anyone was going to make a spy video game, they would make sense. But it's
I
going to be
mean,
great.
Hitman, it's right in their, DNA,
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, you mentioned the ROG Xbox Ally. People loving the device, the price situation. We may as well loop this in with the next topic, and we have some game related topics coming up, a lot of them. But we'll talk about the RAM thing. So for people that don't know, and I've coined this term, the RAM apocalypse happened, right?
Ramageddon, yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, and some people don't really realize the scope of this. And I'm going to explain this as simple as possible for people that don't understand, right? Because why would most people don't know about the RAM situation or even care or anything, but it's going to affect everything. And I think most people don't realize how bad it is. So basically, there's like three companies. It's either three or four companies on Earth that make RAM modules, right? And then you have companies like Corsair, Samsung, basically everyone that has a device, they buy the modules off them and put it in their products. There's been an increased demand in RAM from huge companies such as Facebook, the big G, I'll call them, Microsoft, Apple, and all this stuff. Strangely enough, Apple's doing the least amount of AI stuff, which is weird. And by the way, just for the reference of the channel, I'm not going to mention the term AI much at all. We'll just say computers, right? Just for my channel's sake. Anyway, so basically, everyone making this content online with images and video, it's requiring these companies to stock up on servers with lots of RAM. And one of the companies that make RAM modules have decided that in, I think, Q2 of this year, they are going to stop supporting, I should say, stop selling RAM modules to consumer electronics creators, right? And all these RAM modules are going to go to these server companies. And this has made RAM shoot up in price across the board because everything has RAM now. TVs, smartwatches, your mobile phone, cars, anything, your microwave, everything has these RAM modules, and there's high demand and there's not many people making them. So over the next year, it's going to get worse. And that's why we're seeing consoles go up in price again. Nvidia and AMD are going to have to raise the price of their graphics cards this year because they have VRAM in them. And it's going to be bad. And this isn't some quick fix type thing. This isn't going to be something where, you have a company like Microsoft, and I've seen other people mention this, and why wouldn't you? It is a thought a lot of people would have. Like, why can't Microsoft or any of these other companies start making RAM modules? The way these companies are set up, like, they can't just go, hey, here's a factory, let's make RAM. Like, it's a huge process to make these modules, and basically it could take upwards of 5 years to make a facility to make them, right? And that goes towards a lot of different kinds of chips, right? So basically, over the next years, and I'm not exaggerating, we're going to see TV manufacturers, car manufacturers, console manufacturers, basically anyone that makes a consumer electronics good that has RAM in it, it's going to go up in price significantly. And the more RAM that device has, the more it's going to cost and the more it's going to go up. And even things such as streaming sticks, like a Chromecast or a Roku, those have RAM in them. Those are going to go up in price as well. And I did some research the other day, and apparently this whole situation may not calm down till 2028. And for people that don't follow me on Twitter, I'll mention this story again. So back in June 2025, I was looking to get more RAM for my PC. And it came to about £48, the one I was looking at. And this was before the RAM apocalypse happened. And I said, you know what? I don't need it right now. I'll maybe wait for a holiday sale because I had seen, similar RAM drop in price over the holidays before. That £48 RAM now costs £225.
Man, you played yourself.
Yeah, I cooked myself more like it. And my friend that I play Call of Duty and Arc Raiders with, he sent me this picture and he's like, this is the RAM I got, right? And it was, I think it was like £100 RAM. It was somewhere between £80 and £100 RAM. He bought 3 years ago, it costs £700 now. So for these two little RAM sticks, you could buy a console. Like, that is crazy. So like when we see these manufacturers talk about how they're gonna have to raise the price of goods this year, like everyone rolls their eyes because everything's costing more. This is why. It's because RAM. It's always something. You had the transistor shortage in 2020 because the factories were shut down, and then we had consoles go up in price because of inflation, and now it's the RAM apocalypse. It's tiring. I get why everyone's getting really tired of it because it's going to affect everything for a couple of years now, and it's not going to be some quick fix thing. So that's why things like the ROG Ally. If you want one, buy one now. In fact, that goes towards anything. If you want an Xbox or a Switch 2 or a PlayStation or a PC, get that now. Get it now. Get it out of the way because trust me, it's going to get worse. I mean, there was this guy posted a picture, and this is a bit of a tangent. Corsair, apparently, Corsair built this like $3,400 PC, right, for this guy. So he put it in his basket, went to buy it, and then after he purchased this PC, Corsair allegedly, I have to say allegedly, but Corsair allegedly cancelled the pre-order, or I should say the order in general, and listed it back on the store for $1,000 extra. Right? This person made a post online, got a lot of hate, thankfully, and Corsair reversed the decision and is letting this person buy the PC for its original price. But you have these PC manufacturers, Corsair, they do make RAM, not RAM modules, but RAM sticks, and like they are having to upcharge their own PCs almost $1,000. So like that's how bad it's gonna get. So when you see people complain about prices and stuff, like that's why it's gonna be bad. Logan, I know I've been talking about RAM non-stop for 10 minutes, but it's affecting everything.
Yeah, it's insane. Like I picked out a 4K TV, a new one from my parents for Christmas, and
Oh, nice.
got them set up with that and everything. A Samsung, and they love it. And like even that had a significant RAM portion of the package that it was talking about and everything. And it's like just goes to show RAM is in everything. It's not the force. It's not all that around
Yeah,
it and surround us and binds us, but kind of RAM is important. And so it's interesting, and to me it just shows such a lack of foresight in the past from previous generation or two of maybe just maybe we should have had more than 3
yeah,
companies that were capable of producing and manufacturing and utilizing this, because it kind of has created a, you want to talk about monopolies or strangleholds on industries, like a triopoly basically of like only 3 folks know how to make it. I mean, that's not their fault. They're the ones who know how to make it. That's not a problem. But for the sake of the industry and for general consumers, I really hope other countries and regions in the world and companies go ahead, bite the bullet, and spend what it takes in hours, time, money, and manpower to get these facilities up and running and future proof things to where they can get these manufactured so that we don't have silicon shortages, we don't have RAM shortages, we don't have, you know, chip shortages, like all this stuff, because otherwise, things are just going to get unholy levels of expensive and shortages. Like, not just expensive, but people are going to be fighting with sticks over trying to get a part for something
yeah,
going forward. And it's crazy, and it should never have gotten this way. And I just hope and pray that they've learned their lesson and that Microsoft, Google, Meta, who the powers that be in the tech industry just start making their own, because We all need it.
Yeah. And I don't even know if this is a controversial hot take or anything, but like I think that the whole AI thing that you're saying right now, we'll call it a computer thing. I'm trying to not use that term, but the whole computer thing you see right now, I think it's actually a bubble that's going to burst. Right?
Hmm.
I 100% believe this, that people making like content with like movies, images, all this stuff. It reminds me of, can you remember the .com boom in the early 2000s?
Oh yeah.
Where everyone was making a website and like nobody actually knew how to monetize them. So you had businesses pop up making websites for whatever reason, and they didn't actually know how to monetize the business, right? And because the internet was like a bigger thing then, and people realizing, oh yeah, you can make and post anything on there. Well, that's what I see with AI or computer stuff. I have to keep censoring myself, but that's how I see it. And
Non-organic wisdom.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I like that. I hope I'm right, because I see this slop and it's like, why do people like this? You can tell when you hear it, when you see it. I honestly think it's a bubble. It's a bubble that's going to burst, and then thankfully, devices like consoles, PCs, cars. Like, by the way, one of my friends is looking to buy a new car, and do you know he said that the RAM is mentioned on the website for each car?
Wow, we are far and away from when it was just a V8 or V6 or
Yeah,
Hemi.
it's like crazy, but yeah, that's the RAM situation. And I think as a topic, it's boring, right? We're talking about RAM modules. Ooh, scary. But it's a crap situation we're in, and it's going to affect everything. And like, look, my mother, she's wanting a new phone. She currently has the it was the last Nokia they made with a colored screen and a keypad. Like, it is
It's about time.
yeah. The
Yeah.
thing is, it's a highly sought after phone right now in the UK. But like, she was wanting to maybe get an iPhone, right? And I told her, do you know those are going to go up in price because of the RAM situation? And she just rolled her eyes. Like, so like, yeah, that's where we're at now. Everything has RAM. My God. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't take till 2028 to settle down, because my God, like TVs are going up in price already in the UK. I don't need that nonsense. Nobody does. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of price stuff, because this one's actually made me angry. Grand Theft Auto 6. It's going to be the biggest game ever. I know a lot of people can't wait for it. Hopefully, it still releases this year, and it's probably going to be the best-selling game of all time. It's going to sell the fastest. And, oh, by the way, while we're live, we're now in 20 minutes in. If you're enjoying the show, please hit like, share, and subscribe. I hate doing these little ads, but it helps, push through the algorithm, and it really helps the channel out, and really helps the podcast grow. So if you want to support the channel that way, it's greatly appreciated. If you want to super chat the channel, it all goes back into the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. Anyway, GTA 6, it's going to be the biggest entertainment product of all time. It's probably going to make $1 billion plus in one day. Like, I originally thought this is going to sell 20 million copies in the first week. I'm thinking it's going to sell 30. Like, this is going to sell absurd numbers, to the point where you're going to see, we have another super chat by Nick W. Thank you very much for the 199. He says, what games are you looking forward to in 2026? My God, so many. No, I'll do a quick list, because I have a video coming out about this stuff soon, but I'll go over some stuff quickly. So, 007, right? I cannot wait for that game. We haven't had a Bond game since Bloodstone, I think it was called, on the 360. And it's been a long time since. I love Bond as an IP, and that Bond game just looks fantastic. I love Bond. Dragon Quest 7 remake, I'm looking forward to that. I love the art style of that game. It has this sort of like, I can't even call it anime look. It's like CGI anime, if that makes sense. Obviously Grand Theft Auto, Halo, Gears, Fable, Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider remake. That might be one of my most anticipated games, because I love Tomb Raider as an IP, and this is connecting all of the games together. So continuity-wise, they all connect now. which I can't wait for because it's made some people angry online. It's like, no, the Survivor trilogy is canon. It's all canon. Every game. Uh, what else? You know, I want to look forward to Resident Evil 9, but I'm a scaredy cat. You know, that game, I think I'd have a heart attack playing that because, like, Silent Hill was tough for me. You know, like, Silent Hill 2 Remake, I had to keep pausing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to make this. You know? But Resident Evil 9 looks amazing. You know, Leon Kennedy is back. Um, the game's going to be phenomenal, I'm sure. I mean, it's a busy year for games. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Um, Remnal looks good because that's by the developers of was it called Little Nightmares? Yeah, Little Nightmares.
Yes.
Um, and like that game looks fantastic. It's kind of like 2D horror. We'll call it 2.5D. There's what do you call it? Replaced, which is a 2.5D cyberpunk action adventure game. It's kind of got this like voxelated look to it. Let's see. Man, so many games. I mentioned Final Fantasy VII. Oh yeah, High on Life 2. That's one of my most anticipated games. That first game is hilarious, and it's not often for a game to make me laugh throughout an entire playthrough. And I was almost in tears playing that game just by laughing. Um, and I think this next game is going to be even better. Logan, what about you?
Man, there's a bunch. Like basically your list is pretty par for mine. Resident Evil Requiem, I'm definitely looking forward to. It's right up my alley. I just love that stuff. Um, don't know what all Night Dive will release this year, but they will inevitably release at least a couple games that I want because I trust them and I love what they do. So I'll just go ahead and preemptively add those. Reanimal and Returnal both or Reanimal and Replaced both look fantastic. Definitely looking forward to those. You know, Halo remake, potentially another Halo thing. You know, Gears E Day, Fable, any other potential surprises, Fallout 3 remake or remaster, um, Final Fantasy 7 remake, you know, 1 and 2 whenever 2 does come out for Xbox, GTA 6, there I think there's a Star Wars game or two that's coming out this year. Like I
Yeah.
think that Clone Wars era one is a tactical or something.
Oh, Zero Company.
Um, yes, that one. I'm looking forward to that. And that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure there are some other games that are, for the life of me, are just escaping right now. The Bond game will be fun. Hopefully some more licensed game surprises. I know apparently LucasArts is cooking right now for some extra Star Wars stuff. So hopefully we get some more announcements of that kind of stuff soon. Saber is working on a lot. Is Hellraiser coming out this year?
When they put out the trailer last August, they said coming sooner than you think. That clearly didn't mean anything.
Okay, well, if it comes out this year, that would be one. And d- does that ill game come out this year? Can't remember.
I doubt it. I really
Okay,
doubt it.
because now I'm just grasping for titles that I'm aware of but don't remember a date because everybody was scared to death of GTA
Yeah.
6, so they never put a release date on their games. Basically, we're just having that same problem again. But yeah, their point is the industry's doing a lot of stuff right now, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's always this talk about like, you know, there's nothing to play or like the games industry's in a bad place. Like, I, I look at all the games coming out this year. Like, how can you not be excited? Like, yeah, there's going to be games that have some crappy monetization practices. Yeah, there's going to be some games that don't live up to the potential. But like, from the outside looking in, like, it's going to be a great year. Oh, another game I missed out on, Crimson Desert.
Oh yes, that one's been for ages, and Pragmata,
Yeah,
I think too. finally comes out. Both of those I'm looking forward to.
Apparently, the Silent Hill 1 remake comes out this year. Uh,
That one might be timed, but I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, and what else? Oh, there's the Star Wars racing game this year.
Oh, Sebulba, yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be fun.
Um, and apparently this it's not officially confirmed or anything. There is going to be another Star Wars game announced this year. It's the RTS.
Ooh,
Uh,
I wonder if they make Empire at War a revised version. That would hit really good.
I mean, as someone that was a fan of old school RTS games, you could technically get that to work on a console. Like the way
I
you,
would love it.
yeah, the way you can, and like I'm a huge Star Trek Armada fan. My God, I no life to that game as a kid. Like, oh my God, Star Trek Armada 2 is the peakest of peak. But yeah, it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a very good year. The only bad thing is that there's not enough time. like the backlogs are going to be bad this year. Really bad. My God. There's a bunch of Game Pass stuff that hasn't been announced yet. And look, the shadow drops. Like not Resident Evil, Fallout 3, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Like that's going to be there. Alien Isolation 2, I'm 100% confirmed comes out this year.
Oh, it is.
But yeah, I'd be shocked if it doesn't. But yeah, it's going to be a great year. But yeah, thanks for the 199, Nick. Like, if people aren't genuinely excited about gaming this year, they need to open up the mind. Play some different genres. Because, like, look, when I was a kid, I played two main genres. Right, I played fighting games and platformers. Like, that was my bag. And then I played JRPGs, and I played Metal Gear Solid 2 and all this stuff. And like it opened up my eyes to like, oh, so this is what I've been missing out on, right? So as a little kid, I changed my playing habits. I start opening up to different genres, and now I like basically every genre outside of sports and fighting games. I don't do fighting games anymore. But complete 50 games. Yeah, I checked, by the way, how many games I finished in 2025. I got, I think, 26 games finished. Considering a lot of them were open world games, that wasn't that
That's
bad.
respectable.
I do want to aim for 30 this year. I think that's doable. Just like, my God, can we get some more 12-hour games? Like, please. Like, I'm begging you, more 12-hour games. But yeah, Grand Theft
We
Auto.
need Dispatch for Xbox this year. That's one we do need, and that would strike that itch for you, like the 12-hour or less.
Yeah, I'll talk about Dispatch quickly. So Dispatch, people have been wanting it on Xbox. People have been wondering like, why isn't it on Xbox? So I did some little research into this, and the company that made the game almost went bankrupt, right? And we say this a lot. Developers don't prioritize because they want to screw over a certain fan base. Like, no, they can literally only make one port at a time. I'm perfectly fine with this. Whether it comes to Xbox first or Xbox second, I don't care. Just make sure your studio stays open. Get the games out eventually. It's all good, right? It's a small developer. Like, if you look at the cast list, it's mostly content creators, right? They know which audience they're appealing to when they were making the game, and thankfully they had some help by these content creators. So like, if it's true that the studio almost went bankrupt while making the game, yeah, take your time making these ports. I do think it's coming. It got announced for Switch. I think it's either already out or comes out on like the 12th of January. And like, I'm sure Xbox will come shortly after. And I think Dispatch looks fantastic. I like superheroes. I like video games. Why not? And again, I just want more 12-hour games, please. Just more. That's one of
That'd
the
be a
reasons why.
sneaky drop for
Yeah,
the dev direct.
could be. That would be a big one. Another reason why I'm looking forward towards Gears, by the way, is because that's probably going to be like a 12-hour game as well, which I can't wait for. The Grand Theft Auto situation's weird because it's exciting. We finally getting a new one this year, and the first thing I'm going to do is get a car, put the top down, and just drive around. That's literally it. Listen to the music. You have to do that in a Grand Theft Auto game. So where am I going with this? Um, so people start talking about the price again because why not? And I've heard multiple content creators mention this. I've heard developers mention this and how GTA 6 is going to be $80. Now, when the Outer Worlds 2, sorry, when Mario World, what's it called? Is it called Mario Kart Worlds or World?
I think it's Mario Kart World.
Okay, so Mario Kart World, that was announced it was going to be $80. I'll just speak in dollars for everyone's sake. Um, and it got a pass, And then the reason was I saw for a lot of people, especially on Twitter, that people were saying there's never been an open world racing game like this. And I kind of shook my head sideways like a confused puppy dog because Forza Horizon is a photorealistic open world racing game. What are people talking about? We've had open world racing games for a long time, by the way. Like, there was one on the 360, I can't remember what it was called. It might have been called Fuel, where it has
You
like,
remember Test Drive? I
yeah,
think
Test
that was
Drive
kind of
Unlimited.
open.
That was
Yeah.
ambitious at the time, but I think it was called Fuel, and I think it has like 200,000 kilometers of racing track. It's basically an entire country. But like open world racing games aren't new. But like $80 is a high price for a game, and people let it slide. And then Microsoft announced that some of their games are going to start costing 80, like The Outer Worlds 2, and then they went back on it because people played hell, and rightly so. I don't even like the idea of $70 games. So these people are saying now that Grand Theft Auto should be 80, and this one really annoys me, deserves to be 80. I think so one, you have the big content creators with millions of followers that don't really follow the gaming space, even though they do play a lot of games, right? They kind of have this warped perception on what would happen, and they don't see it as a negative, right? The second Rockstar comes out and Take-Two, and they say their game is 80, every other AAA game developer are going to price their games the exact same. Why? Because they are proud of their game, right? They don't look at their game and go, oh, Grand Theft Auto's better, they can charge more. No, everyone's going to start charging more. Everyone, right? This game's going to get a pass, the biggest pass of all time, and every time I've had a problem with this, do you know what I get? I get people saying, oh no, but you're going to put thousands of hours into it. No, I'm going to put thousands of hours into Arc Raiders, and I paid £34 for it, right? And yeah, Grand Theft Auto is a bigger scope of a game. It's been in development longer. It's more ambitious. However, that doesn't matter. People should not be wanting to be charged more for video games. And it's only in gaming I see this, and it drives me absolutely insane, right? I don't hear people say, hey, I want cinema tickets to cost more. I guarantee you no one on earth has ever said that. Ever. Hey,
Popcorn's too cheap, Jamie.
yeah, oh, by the way, Logan, I want Netflix to cost more. Nobody's ever said that. Nobody. I want Disney Plus
Yeah.
to cost more. No, don't cost more. But when it comes to video games, we are okay with giving some games a pass because we want them. Look, Grand Theft Auto, it's been a highly anticipated game, and I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal, right? We shouldn't let this happen. Gamers have proved before that we can speak with our wallets. Right, no game is worth 80. I'm putting it this way. I don't think any game is worth 70. Right? As a grown content creator that's getting along with publishers at the minute, let me tell you, they do not like it when I say this stuff, right? Gamers need to speak with their wallets. Me saying this is not going to make a single dent on Grand Theft Auto 6's sales. But at the end of the day, the second it happens, it's going to be $80 across the board, right? And you have Arc Raiders that came out. It could have been full price. It could have been free to play. It came out at a good price. It offered a good deal. And all the big games last year weren't full price. You had Hollow Knight Silksong, $20. You had Arc Raiders, $40. You had Mafia the Old Country, $50. You had Claire Obscure Expedition 33, $40. You had Oblivion Remake, $40. Gears of War Reloaded, I think that's like $35. My God in heaven, let's not let this happen. we have the power to stop it, right? We stop Microsoft from doing it. One of the biggest corporations on earth. They have trillions. That's with a T, right? We stop them from doing it. We have to stop other companies from doing it as well, because we complain about RAM going up in price, but we can't complain about games going up in price. And if you mention this, people will always say, "Oh no, but it's Grand Theft Auto." I don't care about the whole "Oh no, it's Grand Theft Auto." That doesn't exist to me. Grand Theft Auto is going to come out. It's going to be an amazing game, and I'm going to put 30 hours into the story and then play something else. Right? I learned the hard way. I am not touching Grand Theft Auto Online 2. Not doing it. Not doing it. That game's going to be funded with shark cards after making its billions in sales for the next decade. Right? Look, Logan, we've talked about game prices a lot over the past couple of years, but like, I see developers, and I think it was a developer from Raven Software, I think, or sorry, Sledgehammer Games mentioned that, Grand Theft. We should get used to games going up to 100. Like, we can't let this happen, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, if we want to get used to games going up to 100, you thought console sales stagnated? You thought, the gaming industry had stagnated? I would be, nothing's 100%, but I would strong inclined to say that games would plummet in sales
Yeah,
and numbers, and everybody's backlogs would finally get dealt with. If games went up to that much just across the board in general, and where a traditional price game today was an outlier, then I think the gaming industry would implode upon itself at that point, or would have a big crash because, like, I love games. Obviously, like, it's something I really enjoy and passionate about. And I love, pop culture, all that. But, there comes a point where you got to be like, dude, this is just, it's not even like reasonable. It's like downright just, you know, it is bad for you to do this at a certain point to where it is like harmful for your own finances or for others, and it just the cost reward benefit is just not there. Like, how people want to spend their money is totally up to them, and I totally get that, but I'm just saying, like, I think everybody has a price that they're willing to go up to for games and not cross. And I think that number, if things start hitting that, I think that would be a no turning point kind of line for a lot of people. And I do not see that going well. I don't care if people think it's cheap. I don't care if people want to tip the devs or go about this or that, whatever. Point is, like, it's not our fault as a consumer that these companies have gotten so large and so incompetent that they can't get a game out within a couple years like they used to. Like, it's not our fault that these budgets are 120 something million dollars, which used to be a gargantuan movie or TV series budget, and is now like for a traditional AAA game for some of these companies. And then it takes 5 or 6 years to finally get a sequel if you're lucky. It is ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying we have to go back to 360 PS3 visuals, but if that's what it took, I would certainly be fine with it. Like, whatever they can reasonably do. It is not our problem. It's a whole lot of not my problem as a consumer that they are having issues with, personnel or finances or managing these products. Like, just get smarter about it.
yeah,
Get, more creative. You see Larian, you see, the Silk Song Bros, you see Tunic Dev, you see Dispatch, you see these other smaller companies, Expedition 33's, studio. Like, they make these games on a shoestring budget, and sweep awards, and they're incredible, and they don't. It's not extortion for the prices. Like, I know everybody gets tired of prices and RAM and all these mundane things, but at the end of the day, they add up, and eventually enough is enough for some people.
Yeah. I mean, look, people are obviously going to vote with the wallet, and it's going to be the best selling game of all time and all that stuff. But like, even if people make enough of a stir online, say you're not going to buy these games, like it will trigger something in people, and make a difference. And I mention this because I love gaming. Clearly, my channel is about gaming. But like, look, I won't mention who, but I've heard a certain developer, and we'll say publisher, say that if the prices go up, what a game is going to do, not play anything. And I think that is a very short-sighted way to look at gamers, because let me tell you, we have thousands of video games on Xbox Network, PlayStation, Steam, Switch, GOG, Epic, right? If no games came out for the next foreseeable future, people aren't going to run out of things to play. That has never made any sense to me. It's like, no,
My
literally,
backlog would
yeah, the backlog.
sustain me a
Like,
decade.
if I couldn't buy another game from the store, or anyone couldn't, right? If I couldn't buy a game for the store for the next year, let's say, I have enough games that I've bought that would keep me busy for the rest of the year, right? And I feel like a lot of people in the chat listen right now feel the same way, right? Because backlogs are ridiculous, and those sales, they're great, by the way. The sales have been great, but my God, the backlog's ridiculous. And hopefully there is some sort of difference. Anyway, we'll move on. I just want to mention it because these developers, or these big people, they have no idea how money works in the real world. Like, Grand Theft Auto is going to print excuse me, Grand Theft Auto is going to print more money than anything. It's going to be the most successful entertainment product of all time. However, it's going to make that much money regardless. It's going to have 10 years plus of microtransactions. Look at Rockstar in general. We used to get multiple games a generation from them, and the second they start putting out shark cards, we all of a sudden stopped getting those games, right? They've put out one game since Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. That's it. Everything else has been ports. But yeah, just wanted to bring that up because we need to speak with our wallet. If a random game gets announced tomorrow and it's $80, I want people to be vocal about it. These games do not need to be that much. Before we continue to the rest of the show and the rest of the topics, we have 243 concurrent viewers. I've never seen the number that high on this channel. So if you're enjoying the show live, thank you very much. The support is greatly appreciated. I have lots of cool things planned for the channel. Like this year, I don't want to gas it up too much, but I have so many cool things planned for this year because my health, without going into detail, I've had health problems for a long time now, which has stopped me from doing the weekly videos like I used to. And, I'm trying to figure out a way to get this done so I can put out weekly content again, as well as the podcast at a higher quality than it already is. Because, look, my older videos, I never liked them. Now I think I make good videos, and I'm proud of them. It's like, when you first hear yourself on a microphone or on a video, you kind of go, oh, right?
Oh, voicemail is the worst.
Yeah, like when you hear your own voice for the first time, you're like, oh my God. Like, that used to be me watching my content back, right? Now I'm proud of the videos I make. The audio quality is great. The video quality is great. I make high bitrate videos. Like, I'm proud of the content I make now. And I'm proud to admit that. My contents came a long way. In fact, in 2019, I was actually going to erase all my older videos, right? And right before I was about to, I thought, you know what? You can actually go through and see my first video where I'm opening up a box. I got a copy of BioShock Infinite early, and that's my first video on the channel. You can see my videos go from absolutely crap to, I'd say, is professionally edited style content, and I'm proud of it. And I have lots of cool stuff coming this year. And who knows? Maybe if I get to do this full time, I've actually worked out I'll be able to get out maybe 3 or 4 different pieces of content out a week. But hey, thanks for the support. It's greatly appreciated. Onwards with the show. Anyway, Logan. Now we've been talking about the price of stuff for a while. Let's get into the more fun stuff. Gears of War E-Day is finally coming this year. Finally. And, you know, right before the Game Awards, it was actually a couple of months before the Game Awards, now I think about it, the Gears of War developer coalition put on their Twitter header, Emergence begins 2026. And when the Game Awards was happening, the coalition put out a still image of the Gears of War 6, or sorry, Gears of War E-Day, cover art, or should I say, key art, and people start losing their marbles saying, oh, they didn't need to go at the Game Awards to announce that their game's coming out. It's like, no, they literally announced their game was coming out this year just by putting it in their Twitter header months ago. Just nobody really mentioned it. And every time I posted about it, some people said, oh, I'm lying about the release date. It was in their Twitter header, right? So we're getting Gears this year. We're probably going to see something at the Microsoft Developer Direct, which is coming later this month. It should be a big show because Microsoft, they have a habit of being able to make tons of games at the same time, have shadow drops, which is lovely. But we're finally going to see Gears in action, and it's coming this year. Logan, what do you think? Because I know you're a fan of Gears, but it's finally coming this year. It's going to be big.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for this. Like many Gears fans, I absolutely adored the original trilogy, and I'm one of the 12 people who liked Judgment as well. I know there are some of us who liked it, but so I love that era. So I'm very excited that they're going back to it and gonna show even before and show like the early days of fighting the locust and like how basically they're like, dude, we are so cooked. Um, like, how are we gonna fight these horrific monsters that emerge from the ground? And like, not only are they just super mean and ugly and just vicious, and they're armed to the teeth, but they have these literal monsters like working with them as mounts and machines and just nightmare fuel. And I feel like they're really going to embrace more of the terror elements like Gears 1 and 2 hinted at in parts. So I'm very excited for Gears E-Day in particular.
Yeah, it's going to be a big release, and they're going back to the original format, more linear style game, horror elements. Because that first game, there are some horror elements in it. I love that first Gears game. The second one is my favorite, but that first game, it's horror vibe. It plays throughout that entire game. But I mean, Gears is coming back in a big way. It's hard to believe it's been 6 years since the last one. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's way too long, man.
Yeah. And when that trailer came out last year for E-Day, people were saying, "Oh, the game will not look like that." Um. Yeah, it's the coalition. Every time a Gears game has been shown off, people say it will not look like that, and then it comes out and it does. you know, trust the process. Those developers, they know what they're doing. And you have to remember, a lot of those developers that work at the coalition, they were at Epic, right? They know Unreal Engine. you know, it just makes sense. But yeah, Gears of War, it's going to be a big year for that. And we're probably going to see it at the Developer Direct. But let's talk about the Developer Direct because it's going to be a big show. It's coming in like 3 weeks, kind of. Logan, is there anything you're expecting to be there? Nothing's been announced yet, but what are you expecting to be there?
Well, we know 100% that Playground will be there in some capacity. So either we're getting a look at Forza Horizon, 6 with, Japan stuff, or we're getting a look at Fable, or both. So we know for sure that at least one project of Playgrounds is going to be there. So really looking forward to that. That would be a great place to stealth drop some stuff. Like we mentioned Dispatch in passing earlier. Like some of these titles that folks have been waiting on for a while that are indies, that are hits and doing quite well that haven't hit the platform, like Absalom is another one that would be a good spot for it. Um, and then, there's always surprises. Like, I reckon Gears E Day would be a good spot for that. Maybe some Indiana Jones update of some sort, maybe. That would be cool. Um, Honestly, the thing with Xbox now is their empire is so vast of content. Like you could just throw a dart at a board, and just about anything would make sense to pop up there.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think State of Decay has a high chance of being there because the last time we actually got a trailer was, I think, 2024, where we saw a
Yeah, it's
snip.
been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I think that's time. Typically, at the developer direct, there's a huge focus on first party content with some third party stuff that's in Game Pass. So last year we had things like Claire Obscure Expedition 33 was one of the highlight games during the show, and it was obviously a big game. People liked it. Um,
Yeah,
but
shout out to whoever found that game for Xbox Publishing to like lock in on.
yeah,
Like, kudos to them. You did your scouting really good.
yeah. I mean, they did a bloody good job. I mean, that game, one game of the year across the board in a lot of places. It's it's arguably one of the most interesting stories in gaming. Not just the story itself for the plot, but the way the development happened for it. You know, you have someone that basically did music for SoundCloud vote the game. Just crazy, but it should be an interesting show. The past few developer directs have been great. There's been some shadow drops at the past few. Last year there was the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remake. People loved that. The
It
year
was
before,
really good when they fixed the camera. It was really good.
yeah, that game's camera. Pooh. I could not play that game when it came out.
It
Um,
was horrible, man.
yeah, but hey, it's fixed now, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, it should be a big show. But one of the big games I want to talk about, and this has been my theory for 2 years, and I think a lot of people thought the same thing because it kind of makes sense. Is the Fallout 3 remake? By the way, I'm going to refer to it as a remake because if you remake all the assets, to me that's a remake. Right? It doesn't have to be a complete change of the game like a Resident Evil 2 or Final Fantasy 7 remake, right? There's different kinds of remakes. That's just my take on it. But anyway, for the past 2 years, I've thought, okay, season 1 of Fallout did such a huge thing for Fallout as a brand, right? It brought Fallout as a brand. I don't want to say it back, but literally, Fallout 76 had a horrible launch. It kind of damaged the brand. And then you have this TV show come out, and bear in mind, all the show's episodes dropped the same day. So when that show came out, people were doubting the show because they thought, why would they, release everything at once? And it turned out people absolutely loved it, and it did so well that Fallout 4 became the number one game in Europe and in the UK. Fallout 76 became, I think it was number 2 in the UK and Europe, and Fallout 3 also was in the top 5, right? Like, Fallout was huge, right? Because of that show. It was a huge IP already, but it fixed the brand, basically. Fallout 76 is in a great place now. It's getting new content all the time. People love that game now. And, Season 2's out. So, like, my thought was, like, okay, you're going to release Fallout 3 Remastered or Remake around the time of Season 2. Kind of makes sense. And now you have Season 2 out. People are loving it. 76 just had its latest expansion, which people are loving. I'm saving. Oh yeah, by the way, for people that don't know, Fallout 76 is getting its free next gen upgrade this year, which is what I'm saving myself for because I'm looking forward to playing that. But like Fallout's doing huge numbers again, and millions of people haven't played Fallout 3. For all intensive purposes, Fallout 3 is going to be a lot of people's first Fallout game, and it's going to be a lot of people's first experience with Fallout 3. So it's going to be a new Fallout game, essentially. Now, obviously, we don't know what level it is when it comes to a remake. Like, is it on par with the Oblivion remake? Cool. Like, if it was up to me, I would prefer Fallout 4 level graphics with Fallout 4 gameplay. If they did that for Fallout 3, mwah, chef's kiss, right? And I think, maybe we will have that. Fallout 3, other than its look, it's a unique green, grey, and yellow color palette. Its third-person combat was terrible. Like, Fallout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. I could talk about that game all day. But like its combat, not exactly the best, and its graphics at the time weren't exactly the best. But with the past remakes and past rumors, like everything's aligning. So anyway, the developer direct is in a couple of weeks. But last night, a mysterious timer happened. It's online right now. It's a link from the TV show's website where it takes you to a mysterious green map that's suspiciously empty. And there's a countdown, and I think by now it should be like 30 days. So when the season 2 finishes, the last episode drops, I say, this time is going to end. So now my theory's gone from it's going to be at the developer direct to I think the game might be shadow dropped the same time the last episode airs. Because if you have millions of people tuning into Fallout Season 2 and you have that episode go live, and let's say it's 53 minutes, and people start watching it, and then the credits roll, and then 53 minutes into the show, you have an ad play for Fallout 3 Remastered or Remake, you instantly get millions of people's attention. So, no Game Awards announcement, maybe not the developer direct, but like if you have millions of people tuning into Amazon Prime to watch something, and you see that ad, I think that's fairly possible. I think it's fairly possible. Logan, I know that might be a bit outlandish, but it's just one of my thoughts.
Honestly, would be that would be right on brand for Todd because he likes to just get things out as soon as they're available and ready to go. And it would be a perfect, market zeitgeist kind of moment to choose because like you've got everybody hooked in for a season finale and everybody's going to be either hyped up or devastated or whatever emotion you're feeling from a season finale, and then the credits roll, and then you hear one of those old songs or Ron Perlman talk or something like that, and then lo and behold, Fallout 3 remaster or remake, and then they show a brief little trailer, and then available tonight, or whatever it is. Like that would send massive shockwaves, and it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thought because the Fallout 3 thing, it was on that list, the FTC list 3 years ago. My God, can you believe that was 3 years ago?
Man, that trial and that whole Jim Ryan flying across the globe thing lasted forever.
Yeah, I think every week, by the way, for people that don't know, every week the podcast, I think about maybe 50% of the show would be, the FTC, ABC, ABK deal, insert random bunch of letters. That's all we're talking about every week. But hey, that list leaked ages ago, and you look at what Microsoft's like with their shadow drops and stuff. They clearly don't care about shadow dropping a huge game, right? You would think from a publisher standpoint, you want to market this game because like Elder Scrolls. Think about Elder Scrolls as a video game. It's a huge IP. One of those games come out and it's an event, right? People celebrate that thing, and then they just happen to shadow drop one of the biggest IPs in the world. Like, to me, I'm thinking, and I did business at college, and at the time I was thinking, why would you do this? Like, it's good for me. It's good for all the other gamers that are going to get to play this game. But that marketing part of my brain was going, why did you do this? But it doesn't matter. It's genius. Yeah, it's genius. And I think that maybe, dropping a Fallout remaster alongside the last episode of season 2, because, by the way, season 3 starts filming in May this year. So if the development schedule is like previous Fallout seasons, season 3 should be dropping around March to May next year. So, yeah, we could be looking at a scenario where we see Fallout 3 Remastered launch in the next month, and we see Fallout New Vegas Remastered come out with season 3. I know it's a lot of remake talk, but let's be honest, right? Fallout 5 is years away, unfortunately. By the time Fallout 5 comes out, all of our bones will be dust. It will be the heat death of the universe, and then finally, Fallout 5 will release on the Xbox holodeck. Because, my God, that game's going to take a long time to make. Um, and by the way, Todd Howard has said that the Fallout 5 that's currently planned will be taking place with the events of Fallout Season 1, 2, and 3 in mind. So, yeah. In the meantime, we're going to have Fallout games to play in the form of remasters. And you know what? To me, that's fantastic because Fallout 3 is, my God. I could talk about that game all day. Do you know there's a mission in that game where you find this person that's actually a tree? That's all
Oh
I'm going to
yeah,
tell
that
people.
was a trip.
Yeah, that yeah, that's a trip. But like, that's all I'm going to say for people. Like, if you've never played it, there's a person that is also a tree. Take from what you will. Um, But yeah, it should be a good next month, man. We have so many different titles coming out. You have Elder Scrolls. Like, look, Virtuos did such a great job with Oblivion. I do think we're actually going to see more Elder Scrolls games as well. I think we could see Morrowind. You know, it,
That one needs it
yeah,
badly. You thought Oblivion did? My
yeah.
goodness.
Like,
Morrowind could use it.
Oblivion. And I've mentioned this before, and for people that don't know, it's 2006. You step out of the cave in Oblivion, right? And you walk into the forest and you look down at the ground. You're in the middle of the forest. And rather than there being grass at your feet, the floor's painted green. Right? That was the thing back then. If games had grass in them, they'd just paint the ground green and then have like an occasional like sprig of grass or strand of grass sticking out the ground, and we just believed that is grass at the time. But now with the Oblivion remake and other modern games with grass and forests and stuff, the actual ground is like real life, which is nice. I know it's nothing to make a big deal about, but when I first got out of that cave with the remake last year, I looked down at the ground and thought, "Oh, thank God, there's no green paint." Just such a small thing, but they made that game so much more playable. The combat was better. The visuals were obviously top notch. The performance was great. Just a great overall game. Fallout 3 it's a special game. And by the way, every time I mention Fallout 3, I get a lot of angry replies by New Vegas fans. And I feel like I've maybe missed something in the social media space, right? Where have I missed some sort of like ongoing intergalactic war between Fallout 3 fans and Fallout New Vegas fans? I must have missed the memo because I thought people can like both, right? Fallout New Vegas wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Fallout 3. That's just how it is. Not saying Fallout New Vegas is bad, but come on. But yeah, it's going to be a great time to be a Fallout fan over the next year or so, or if you're counting 5 decade. But hey, the Xbox Developer Direct and the Fallout season finale is just a few days apart, so that's going to be an interesting time. Logan, have you got anything else to say on the whole Fallout situation before we move on?
Oh yeah, I'm loving the show. Season 2 has been fantastic so far, and I really am excited to see where they go next, and can't wait for Fallout 3 remake remaster. And it's funny you mentioned the kind of the civil war between Fallout 3 and New Vegas fans, and Todd actually addressed that the other day in an interview, and he's like, I don't know where this came from that we have a disposition against or a envy or a dislike of Obsidian and how they handled Fallout for New Vegas or this or that or whatever. They said that couldn't be further from the truth. They said they loved what they did with it. They did something dramatically different than how they had done it, but they respected how they did it and they made meaningful characters and story and location and all that. And that they invited him to the premieres for the show and all this other stuff. They're open to working with them again, all this stuff to basically try to finally put this to bed that there is beef between Obsidian and Bethesda. A lot of people believe that for a long time, but Todd has officially, buried that axe on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I made a Fallout centric post last night on Twitter. Seriously, if you want to laugh, look at the replies. Everyone listening, if you want to laugh, look at the replies last night. People are angry, right? that I was dead to post about Fallout 3 as opposed to New Vegas. And like, I just don't get it, right? When Fallout 3 came out, people loved it, right? People still talk about it fondly. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And I've never once said, by the way, Vegas, terrible game. I just prefer 3, you know? But like, I swear to God, there was some sort of intergalactic war between these fan bases, and I just completely missed out on it. People just start hating on each other, and I just don't get it. It's weird, you know. Obsidian, they make great games. Bethesda, they make great games. And look, because they get along, and you know they clearly know how to make a Fallout game, there's a high probability that we could actually see a Fallout game this decade by Obsidian. So
I'd say a very good chance.
yeah, like there's no talk right now of a Avowed 3. Sorry, not Avowed 3. The Outer Worlds 3. But I 100% think we will see some sort of Fallout game from them that's new, not specifically a remake. Like I know people want a New Vegas 2. If people want to play in the same map, cool. I mean, obviously you could do way more with modern tech, you know, more enterable buildings and that stuff. But like, look, the future's bright for Fallout. Finally, you know, you had Fallout 4 that came out in 2015, I think. Did huge numbers. Did even better last year because of the show, or the year before. You have Fallout 76, which people love now. People talk fondly about Fallout 76. Hell, Fallout 76 had a controversy over a canvas bag.
It almost killed the company.
Yeah. Like, and you know, that was a huge game for them because this was going to be their live service game. Because, like, that's one of the reasons why Bethesda wanted to be bought, right? If Bethesda makes a big game and it doesn't do the Skyrim numbers that Skyrim did, it would tank the company. So when Fallout 76 had its issues, like you said, it almost tanked the company, and now they can make whatever they want. Everything's working now, and it's great. But yeah, just thought I'd mention Fallout because, again, we're going to be finding out in the next month, and it's going to be sweet. And as I was saying earlier on the show, backlogs are a thing. My backlog is going to be terrible. I'm going to drop everything for Fallout. Because my God, Fallout 3 is good. When you first step out, bit of a tangent, when you first step out into the open wasteland, and you know your eyes adjust to the light, and you first see that open wasteland, you see a supermarket off into the distance, and then you first go to that first town called Megaton. There's no game experience like it at all, and it's special.
And the fact that the town could disappear because of actions you take, when I learned that, I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time, and one of my friends told me, oh yeah, that town doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? What, it doesn't exist anymore? He's like, oh, you know that big nuke in the middle of the map? Like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing when I first played that game, but I mean, that's the cool thing about these games, such as Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and whatnot. Everyone's player experience is going to be completely different, and that's another reason why I'm looking forward to 3 Remake coming out, because I'm going to see all these new people's impressions of playing this new Fallout game and their experience with certain quest lines and stuff. Like I mentioned, a dude that is technically a tree. People will be surprised, even though I've already mentioned it. Certain plot points, and by the way, when you first played that game in 2008. When you finished the main story, you could not play in the open map again, right?
Oh yeah, literally. Yeah.
And then when they came out with was it Brotherhood of Steel or Broken Steel?
It was Brotherhood of I think it was Broken Steel expansion that let you actually continue the game from that point.
And in that game, like that's one of my favorite expansions, and like it allows you to go into the open world game and finish side quests and do the missions that's pertinent to the mission. But man, I'm so happy for people that's just going to get to play that for the first time. It's going to be great.
Mothership Zeta was so good as well. I love that one.
Right, this might be controversial. So when I posted about Mothership Zeta last week, I was shocked at all the replies. People were like, oh yeah, the Fallout fandom doesn't like this expansion. It's like, Wait a minute.
That's news to me
Yeah,
because I love it.
news to me. I've been talking on social media, forums, whatever, about Fallout 3 since Fallout 3 came out, right? I've never experienced the whole Mothership Zeta is bad thing. So we have this whole expansion set on an alien starship, and it's bad apparently. I missed out on the memo. Like, that's a cool expansion, and you get the best pistol in the game. It's an alien blaster, right? Oh my god, it's so cool in that game when you make enemies just vaporize. So good.
Oh yes, and then like the whole story being like a almost like a predator type thing where
Yeah,
you've got like a cowboy, a knight, this or this all team up. It's just so cool.
I don't know if you ever played this or found it, but did you know you could find a crashed alien starship in Fallout 4?
I think so. I think I followed the radio signal and found it.
Yeah, like people can find it a different way. Uh, but like if you go to a certain part of the map at a certain time, like you will see a starship, a small one, a spaceship, fly over your head and crash land in the distance. Right? That's how I found that in the game. And you see this little green alien in a cave, and that's how you get the blaster in Fallout 4. But like I didn't know about that. But yeah, I mean Fallout. Oh my god. I'm so happy for people. Fallout 3 is so good. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. We're going towards the end of the show. I mentioned the. Oh yeah, so Logan, there was some talk about backwards compatibility maybe coming back at some point in some way, and this, game preservation is always brought up when it comes to Microsoft and their future consoles and stuff. Like, we know future hardware is going to be backwards compatible. You have Jason Ronald in an interview just before Christmas talking about how, like, he was asked, will backwards compatibility come back? And a lot of people took from that interview that we might see more games. People from Microsoft have said that this year is going to be special because it's, was it the 25th anniversary?
Yep.
Yeah, and like what I took from that and what some other people took from that is that we could maybe see this could be hopium with a little sprinkling of, copium, that we maybe see another list of backwards compatible titles added.
That's my guess.
Because,
I
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, there's a huge list of games that people want. We also have to look at licenses which won't be made backwards compatible. And like, I always get asked about Daytona USA, right?
Snowball's chance.
Yeah, or was it NCAA football? Never happening. Like, sorry to tell you, it's just not happening. But like, we were told backwards compatibility was done, and then we got a new list in 21. I think we might see another list. Will we get our Transformers games for being, let's be honest, BC port begging for the longest of times? Because, my God, Activision, you have a hell of a back catalogue. Let us play them. I think we might actually see the list this year. There's been tons of talk and speculation about future hardware and stuff. And I mentioned this earlier today on Boom Show. I think that next-gen consoles for the foreseeable future are either on hold or being put back, right? Phil Spencer's talked about, and this benefits everyone listening, by the way. Like, this generation's been weird. We're all stuck in the house when this generation kicked off. There were no midnight launches, and game releases were happening. More people were shifting to digital, and like, look. There was the chip thing. There was multiple different reasons why developers were taking ages to get their games out. And here we are now, where we have the Rampocalypse happening. Yet another thing. And it's like, I think, you look at things like Grand Theft Auto coming out in December. You have the James Bond game. You have Gears of War E-Day. And you have things on PlayStation like Wolverine and stuff that look fantastic. Like, these consoles, we have more energy to squeeze out of them, right? I think if you're Microsoft, if you're Sony, you maybe put off next generation a couple of years. Because I used to be on Team 2026 for their next gen console for the longest time. But last year, I was like, I feel 27 is going to be it. I think next gen hardware is actually a while off. This generation's only been weird because, like, the future tech of, path trace and, AI upscale and all that type of stuff. Like, that's been the topic for a long time in the gaming space. So that's why next gen's been a topic in the gaming space for so long. Whereas if you go last generation or the year before that, or, sorry, the generation before that, nobody was talking about next generation consoles for years in advance. This time's weird. It's very weird. So like I think these consoles are going to be pushed back, and I think people are going to be better for it because consoles eventually will cost less. You won't have to have $1,000 new generation console, which Phil Spencer's talked about and which you shouldn't do. And, there's still a lot of energy to get out these machines. If you look at something like Oblivion on the original 360 and then compare it to if you compare it to Skyrim or Halo 4 or Grand Theft Auto 5 or, a Max Payne 3, Mass Effect 3, right? These amazing looking games look like they're on a completely different generation of hardware. It was the same console, you know? Like, Microsoft, Sony, take your time. I enjoy your hardware. I've never played a game and thought, wow, this looks blurry. Can someone wash my eyes? Right? I've never had that experience, right? I think gamers, new hardware is always fun to talk about. It really is. But I think just it's not the time. It really isn't. We're obviously going to hear more about it because Microsoft can't stop talking about next generation hardware. But I think for the foreseeable future, we're good with our consoles. The games, that's where it's at this year. There's games coming out this year that haven't been announced yet. There's many games that don't have release dates. If you're a gamer in 2026, there's so many good games coming. And this ain't even not just Xbox, like across the board. If you're on Nintendo, PlayStation, PC, it's going to be an amazing year. It really is. Logan, what's your take on it? Because like the next gen consoles have been the topic for a very long time. However, with everything going on, I think it's easy to understand why these consoles might still be a couple of years away.
Yeah, I'm perfectly cool with waiting a while longer for them. Like, I know 7th gen again, but like the 360 era felt like it lasted forever.
Yeah.
But they were able to like max out to the nth degree all that power and capability under the hood of those things. And it was like generational leaps within just the same cycle for, like you said, like Oblivion and Half-Life 2 and some of these games that came out earlier in the 360 era and then compare them to like how on earth did they get Halo 4 and some of these other titles running like Tomb Rise of the Tomb Raider running on the 360. It was wild, the difference in fidelity and performance and everything. So to me, I don't think we fully maxed and clocked out the Series X and PS5 yet. So I think there's way more under the hood that they can work with. And with prices just going absolutely bonkers right now in the world with current events and all this other stuff going on, that I think a wait would be smart. And obviously, if they announce one tomorrow, I'll be thrilled. But I'm fine with waiting a little bit longer. Got plenty to work with. I'm super excited about the BC stuff. Like, I'm the way Jason talked himself and those quotes and interviews and others, Sarah, Phil, like they're making clear that they're harkening back on Xbox's, generational legacy and the 30 years or 25 years of the console brand and the franchises in it. And I think at the very least we will get a batch of something with some titles, maybe like a Saboteur, a Quake 4, some of the Crash Spyro games, like some of the titles that aren't in licensing limbo that they fully own, that they can get out there and, get out there to play. Like, for example, like I mentioned games that weren't BC that I could play on the Xbox Ally X and stuff. Like Saboteur is one of them. I would love that to be BC. Singularity, I would love that. That's another one. Oddly enough, the PC version of Quake 4 is not controller friendly.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
so that's one that doesn't. I could play it with a keyboard and mouse, but I prefer shooters with a controller. So that one is like a glaring, like, come on, y'all, make this one PC so I can actually play it like with a controller. Because it's Quake. I should be able to play it with a controller. And it's, I don't know, like, there are clearly a bunch of games people would love to have. My guess is it wouldn't be the largest batch in the world, but it would be some, and it would probably be some leftover Bethesda titles and Activision, Blizzard, and King stuff that for various reasons weren't available till now. Maybe they worked something out with Hasbro, and maybe that's just a pure pile of copium, hopium. I don't know, but I just I think we will see at the very least a small little, and here's to you, friends who have been with us since the beginning, kind of thing. Like Xbox knows their PR and their branding could use it, and I think they'll do it.
You know, I'm gonna mention something that I know for a fact doesn't exist, and it's something that I would buy in a heartbeat. So there's a company called Analog that make new versions of old consoles.
Oh, the Game Boys, the N64.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like it's super cool. Like, so they came out with I think it was called the Analog. I think this was called the Analog N64 or Analog 64, and basically it's a new HDMI, you know, N64 you can use where you plug in your cartridges and you play these games in 4K if you want, right? It's got tons of different like screen options and stuff, right? Even if it was Microsoft that did this, like I would be perfectly fine. This is never going to happen, by the way. I would be perfectly fine if Microsoft, you know what, we're going to make some Xbox 360s that have, more RAM in them. Well, maybe not. But, have more RAM in them and DVR functionality, right? With an SSD inside. Like, I would be 100% happy if I had a new 360. It will never happen. But I don't know why that went through my head, because maybe it's I've been looking at the analog 64 a lot. Maybe they could do an analog 360. Huh. But yeah, I think, this year, other than tons of new games coming out, backwards compatibility is clearly going to be a thing that's talked about. And, I know a lot of people get excited about the whole like next gen tech thing, and it is. It's groovy. Let's call it. Like I'm Duke Nukem here, or Austin Powers. Well, let's be honest, I'm more like Austin Powers. But like I think it would be groovy to get like more older games that that aren't backwards compatible. Like the Saboteur is one that's always brought up. That is an open world. That's an open World War II game set in Paris, where it's basically half Grand Theft Auto, half Assassin's Creed. Right? There's no game like it, and I think if you let people play that on modern Xboxes, it would still sell really well. Like hell, we've had Red Dead Redemption, we've had Black Ops 1 and 2 literally chart in the UK because of backwards compatibility. So yeah, people still want these old games. But yeah, it's going to be a really good year. And it was really cool having this opening show where we typically like a 2-hour show, but because it's the first show of the year, it's 2 hours 23 minutes. It's been great. Everyone in chat has been amazing. Bright year ahead. Video games, tons of stuff coming out. When it comes to stuff on the channel, the podcasts are going to get better. I do have hardware ready to do on-camera stuff. So, like, for the podcast, on my end, in the future, there will be me on screen as well as the gameplay. And, I have a lot of really cool videos coming out. I have basically 5 videos in development right now, which will be coming out over the next couple of weeks. And I saw, where was it? K.C3. Thank you for the support, by the way. Mentioned maybe I want to do my own award show. Maybe that's actually the plan. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. And it's something I know that I can do. But that will be a process in itself, and that is something I do want to do this year, an award show. Lots of cool stuff planned for this year. I can't wait. It's been a weird couple of weeks because we haven't had a show, haven't been able to put out videos. I got sick in December, so I couldn't put out the video I wanted to just before Christmas. which is a bit of a shame. But everyone in chat has been amazing. We are now at 371 concurrent viewers. That's the most we've ever had on the channel.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you very much for everyone listening. I'm got a bit speechless at the minute because I'm not used to seeing 3 digits. So hope you all tune in next week. I should have the big video out in, let's see, 2 or 3 days. It's a big one, and if you're looking forward to games this year, there's stuff in this video you don't want to miss out on. Anyway, until then, video should be out again in 2 days. New episode of All Things Xbox podcast, same time next week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hope everyone has a great day. We're out, everybody. Peace. And we are done. That was